Good evening, sci-fi geeks. This episode is especially for you. Tonight, we go out of this world for a really bizarre space race fought between the Soviet Union and the US. And the second one is the Battle of the Sexes. Probably a little bit more exciting. Let's go back to 1977. This is one of my favorite movies. It's called Cosmos, War of the Planets.
Ah, pre-electronica. Or Bach. That's right. This is the Italian Star Wars, Cosmos, War of the Planets. Came out in the same year as Star Wars, just missing the budget and the acting. Things are a little hot in space. Cosmic love? Is that what that wanted to say? Wow, the low lights, the soft tones. Is this going to be a soft porn version of Star Wars? Bizarre Wars. I did mention that this movie was Italian, didn't I?
How long?
Whatever.
Right, little innuendo.
Violent or gentle?
You decide.
You must be kidding. Ooh, the Orgasmatron. If it only was so easy. Wait, that thing looks like the Death Star.
It's strange how some printed words can evoke emotion. You live in a different world.
Ah, what an insight.
Not a world of words, but of things that you cannot express.
Yeah, we call that materialism. A little more Glenn Gould on the piano for you? Uh-oh, another excuse to get smoking hot.
Contact with life.
What is he doing with his hands?
Conditioned by machines.
Whatever he's doing, she's liking it.
Able technicians. Chemists, physicists, engineers, but no poets. Our musicians are born nowadays. And you've forgotten about love.
Okay. Well, they were definitely going for a different audience than Star Wars. Oh, I get it. That whole hot moment is just happening in their minds. I still don't understand what the Death Star has to do with all of this orgasmic rapture.
You must kiss me more often from now on.
You know something? I feel this is my first victory over machines.
Wait until you meet Windows 95.
So guys, are you lost now because we cut just there? Were you longing to see more boonga boonga parties in space? Well, don't worry. We'll have more episodes of Cosmos, War of the Planets in shows to come. But now a prime example of chauvinists in space from the 1976 epic Doomsday Machine.
So the plot of this movie is a paranoid conspiracy theory that's run out of control. It goes like this, midnight movie lovers. The so-called Red Chinese have built a doomsday machine and intend on blowing up the Earth. When the Pentagon gets to hear of this, they decide to repopulate a manned mission to Venus with, well, some gals. Of course, there are problems mixing the sexes right from the blast-off.
All systems are go and you have a good climbing angle. Your velocity is 3250 at T plus 2 minutes. Confirm time sync and prepare for booster cutoff.
Only the youngest and the fittest were chosen for this mission, where possible, that is. Anywho, later in the film, the head astronaut says the immortal line that has defined man's relationship to intelligent women since the very dawn of midnight movies. Let's take a look, shall we?
Due to hard radiation. Probably the Van Allen belt or solar flares.
Ooh.
Speaking of flares, I wonder what happened to the fireworks back home.
What?
Well, I just thank God that any destruction was averted.
I could have told them they were crazy. This whole mess was unnecessary. I mean, bringing you women along. Some stargazer panicked and thought the world was going to end, didn't he?
It was a joint recommendation of the National Security Committee and the Scientific Advisory Board. The president had to act before the Astra was launched.
So in case the world did end, they figured a few people like you and me could do a rerun on Adam and Eve.
Ooh, that's quite a suggestion.
Something like that. Look, Colonel, we're only doing what we were ordered to do, and if it doesn't suit you, well, I'm very sorry.
No, without your glasses, you're a very pretty doctor.
She's very pretty in a Stepford Wives shop mannequin way. But really, what a bimbo. I can't believe she'd have a degree in astrophysics and fall for a corny line like that. Remember, tonight on Midnight Movies, we're looking at bizarre Star Wars, including the battle of the sexes in space. Let's see what happens to one sexist pig in space later in Doomsday Machine.
I don't care what that damn computer says. There's only going to be one decision, and I've made it. You and me, baby. You and me. I've waited long enough for you. You're mine.
A little bit of rough love in space, huh? Whoa, perhaps she should have aimed a little higher. Cowboy boots in space, huh? Does that make him a space cowboy?
You're crazy, Kurt. You know that you're crazy. You don't want me.
It's disgusting. Come here.
We've become machine worshippers.
Sure have.
See it?
Space paganism.
We don't know solid ground when we're standing on it.
What are you trying to say?
Come on, spit it out.
Say that you and Marion are very much in love. You're young and vital. Essential ingredients for an infant humanity.
That's right, two able-bodied adults ready to procreate. What an idea. Looking for love in all the right places.
That's right, baby, an animal. We're all animals. No rules, no more pretense. Survival. The game.
The red button. Ah, so they pushed the don't press this button button. Oh dear. I guess they didn't get the memo which says that in space, nobody can hear you scream. That's the tagline of Alien, by the way. I won't say this sucks. That's too obvious a joke. But it does look like something's caught in his throat. What bad luck in timing. Just about to be sucked into oblivion and you get a tickle in the back of your throat. Meanwhile, back on the bridge.
Kurt. Katie, would you come up forward, please? Captain Mason, Katie, do you hear me?
Oh my God. Now pay close attention, because there's a gesture from the I'm putting a hand on my face to indicate an emotion school of acting if I ever saw it.
So much for chauvinists and the women who love them. In another of the many exciting scenes in Doomsday Machine, planet Earth blows up. That's right, geeks, you heard me. The world explodes. And that is worth sticking around for, wouldn't you say? But right now, it's just time for a short break. And I'm back. We're looking at bizarre Star Wars. In Doomsday Machine, which was made back in 1976, the year before the very first Star Wars, it was all about the battle between the sexes. Well, that is until we see in the next scene the world comes to an end, and suddenly everybody left alive on a flight in deep space finds that they have something in common. None of them can act. Let's take a look. You'll see what I mean.
They did it.
Yep, they ruined some perfectly good scale models, you heartless swine.
Clear war.
Come on, everybody. What's all the big surprise about? 2 years from now when we get back. When we get back. If we get back.
It's the one thing we feared. Nuclear chain reaction.
Kathy.
Yes, it is.
That's static. It's radiation. No.
Get me the filters.
Are we supposed to believe the radiation traveled all the way from distant planet Earth through the lens of the telescope?
Bringing it in close.
Hold on.
You shut up. Mason, will you shut up?
So there you have it. Armageddon. The Earth blown to smithereens, killing billions of people in an instant. Well, cheer up, geeks. It's not as if it's the end of the world. Anyway, so much for sexist pigs. Now, a different kind of competition. You know, the space race between the Soviets and the Americans. It didn't just happen in outer space. Oh no, it took place at so-called grindhouse cinemas too. Both nations competed to see who could get to Venus before the other, build the most realistic scale models, and so on. Exhibit A, the 1962 movie, Battle Beyond the Sun.
Now, in this flick, two unnamed countries battle it out to see who can get to Mars first. The two competing countries, of course, are meant to be the strong and virile Soviets and the decadent capitalist Americans. Only God and the director knows why it's called Battle Beyond the Sun. They go to Mars, which isn't beyond the sun, if they're talking about the one in our solar system anyway. Check out all the dudes standing on the deck. No worries about gravity sweeping them off their feet, obviously. But seriously, folks, what keeps them from floating away? Here, I just wanted to show you, Jimmy, what we've done with the upstairs. You're gonna love it. Now, Martha, she really got some new modern interior decorator in here, and I think they did something quite special. Well, yeah, what do you say? It's quite cozy up here, Jimmy.
The planet does absorb the sun's rays.
Then life must exist there.
In all probability.
Just think. A new world is almost within our grasp.
And it's the right color, too. Red. By the time they get to Mars, another battle takes place. Not between ideologies or nations or anything epic like that. No. Between two really convincing alien monsters. Meeting some sort of rather sexually innuendoed octopus creature. All right. Yeah, now I know this incredibly exciting fight scene doesn't have all that much to do with the battle of the sexes or the space race between the Americans and the Soviets. We just thought we'd put it here because it's so awesome. I mean, who needs CGI when you've got critters like this running around and ogling at us? Watch these two magnificent specimens of the Midnight Movie's Muniverse move towards one another at a speed of at least 100 meters an hour. Only too soon will they be locked in mortal combat in a fight to the death. Really soon. I mean, any day now. I've got my eye on you, boy. I'm warning you. Maybe I've always got this wrong, and it's not a fight scene. It's intergalactic species erotica. I mean, that creature is like entering the other creature. Means all that stuff before must have been the foreplay. They like it a bit rough out here in space.
I love a good fight scene. Our next space race movie is a mashup of a Soviet space movie with an American one. See if you can pick which is which. Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet was, you might say, a rare example of détente. It was a Russian film dubbed into American with American actors and scenes added into the film after the Russian scenes had been shot. If that's not confusing enough for you, the prehistoric planet is supposed to be Venus.
So quite right, Chairman. Perhaps I did forget. Permission granted.
Now, incidentally, Basil Rathbone was really a Hollywood star in his day, and his day was around the same time Lenin went to kindergarten. The beehive hairdo might have been on loan from Moscow. Okay, as some of you probably guessed, that was the American footage. And now, in Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet, we cut fluidly to the Soviet-Russian footage.
Yes? We've received permission to land to be followed by the Sirius. Well, now. And just how do you suggest we manage that? Marshall will stay and keep Vega in orbit. It's a job.
Cosmonauts of the future. A cabin aboard a spaceship bound for planet Venus. Not the back room of a warehouse in St. Petersburg. A communication system, not an intercom system in a high school. Yeah, he's sitting up there attentively.
I'm ready, Skipper.
You seem ready, Andre.
I'm with you also.
The guy with the greasy hairdo's on board. Good, because every 50 sci-fi needs one. I mean, look, there's only 100 million miles to go. Now, I guess there's a long build-up in Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet, but when we finally get to Venus, things get interesting. Yeah, that's right. Make yourself nice and comfortable. Yes, despite what we know to be its surface temperature of 480 degrees Celsius, Venus was a popular destination for both cosmonauts and astronauts in the mid-1950s and early 1960s.
Giving radio distance according to your request. Am determining distance 2 miles.
It's Lockhart. I hope so, my friend.
Ah, yes, precisely as you thought, with all of your previous Venus experiences.
A remarkable invention you have here. Nice to hear you admit it, Alan.
Alan? You mean Ivan, don't you, comrade?
Temperature, lower extremity.
Somebody forgot to shut the washing machine door.
My self-preservation mechanism says I must eliminate extra weight.
What now? Disconnect the mechanism.
I am forced to free myself of this weight.
Now, Stanley Kubrick would explore the relationship between man and machine in his famous 1969 movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. But this flick was made 4 years prior. So you could argue that the Russians are winning the cinematic space race here. And Kubrick never could get this deep. Here comes the cavalry. I hate that.
We must hold on. They'll be here.
Wish me luck.
For God's sakes, hurry.
For God's sakes, do your best. Get there. Save them. Oh, the tension. Is that a Polski Fiat?
He's here.
Ah, he made it. just in the nick of time. Looks like the self-preservation mechanism is on the fritz, but the self-destruction mode is working fine. Darn computers. Just remember, folks, what you're watching is an American adapted and edited version of Soviet-Russian science fiction movie Planeta Burr, or Planet of the Storms. This was directed by one Pavel Klushantsev. The American writer-director Curtis Harrington filmed extra scenes with Basil Rathbone and some American actors. The cosmonauts spend practically all their time on Venus dodging lava flow and stop-motion dinosaurs, so it doesn't exactly turn out to be the holiday they had all hoped it would be. All the while, they are haunted by a siren's call. Then, as we see here, one of them discovers an artifact that may be proof that Venusians themselves are humanoid. Let's just assume, because they are hiding somewhere out of sight. But it's too late. The ship will leave without this space cadet if he's not too careful. Don't you just love how he kicks the ladder from the hatch as if they were throwing out the cat for the night or something? Nothing wonky in that transition there. Anyway, they're out of there. Now that line that is running down the side of the screen is there to remind you that this is real and raw and vital. So do not adjust your set. We've got molten lava flows, we have spaceships taking off. Instead, settle back into your chairs and enjoy the closing moments of Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet, which has a genuinely eerie feeling sort of ending. Midnight movies like this may not have had the budget of today's cinema, but they had something else. Atmosphere.
That's the end of tonight's Bizarre Star Wars, my dear fellow film geeks. But it makes you think, men and women, Ruskies and Yankees, we're so busy fighting each other, would we even have time to fight back if there were like an alien invasion? I know, I'm being deep and heavy. Never mind, midnight movie lovers. Next time on the show, we devote much of the episode to one of the earliest movies in the splatter genre, the wonderfully sleazy, tacky 1962 gore fest, The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Inside the